Welcome everybody to the Lions Club International Foundation webinar. I'm past District Governor Lion Michelle Wyatt from the Colchester Lions Club, and I'm going to be the moderator for tonight's training session. Before I introduce our presenters, I would like to go over housekeeping rules. We ask everyone to mute yourselves during the presentation. Also, we are pleased to see a few of you that have joined us tonight. We ask that each of you type in the chat which club that you are from so that we can give you credit for tonight's session. At the end of the presentation, there'll be questions and answers. If you have a question, though, please raise your hand and we'll call upon you to unmute. Finally, we're recording tonight's training session to be put on our YouTube channel and on our Lions District webpage. So at this time, let me introduce our presenters. From the Hampton Club is past District Governor Lion Mary Krogh. She has served on numerous capacities, but over the last few years, she was appointed by to be the multiple LCIF chair from LCIF, and this year she was appointed as the LCIF Foundation Group A area leader. Also presenting with her from 23C is LCIF coordinator Susan Esty. Before we hand things over, I'd like to share with you a video from our LCIF Foundation chairperson, Brian Sheehan.
Hello, Lions. This year, it is my sincere pleasure and a great honor to serve as chairperson of our global foundation, Lions Clubs International Foundation, or LCIF. I am so excited to work together with all of you as we share the important role that LCIF has in our service to communities worldwide. As Lions, we serve whenever and wherever we are needed. LCIF empowers service through grants and programs. And Lions and Leo's projects funded with LCIF grants expand that service beyond what any Lion, club, or district could do alone. Together, we are improving health and well-being, strengthening communities, and supporting people in need. LCIF grants and programs ensure long-lasting change, bringing help and hope to those who need it the most. Together, we're fighting diabetes, preventable blindness, childhood cancer, and so much more. We're feeding the hungry, responding to natural disasters, and empowering young people for success and protecting our environment. Lori and I have had the opportunity to see service projects throughout the world. We've been to Kenya and we planted a lion's forest of trees, of millions of trees. We went to container and tent cities in Turkey and saw the devastation that was there and how we can help. We've been to hunger projects in India and provided for those that really needed some help. I wish that every single member of our organization could see firsthand what our foundation does, what Lions can do because of LCIF. Through the impact that we create together, we truly make a difference in people's lives. It's because of this impact made possible through our foundation each and every day that I give to LCIF. You know, we were on a service project a while back and we invited people, not even Lions, just additional people to help us serve. We inducted them as new members, and not only that, but they reached into their own pockets when they saw the wonderful things that we continue to do. They reached into their own pocket and they gave as well. I give because I know 100% of my donations benefits LCIF grants and programs. Every dollar I donate is used to help people in the world who need it the most. We can do so much with our donations we receive from Lions around the world. It's only through your support that LCIF can continue to award these life-changing grants and programs. I encourage every Lion to donate to LCIF at whatever level you can. Every donation makes a difference and helps fund our work together. Thank you for your continued support of our global foundation. Together, we are making a great day for so many people. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, everybody. And at this time, I'm going to hand the reins over to Past District Governor Mary Krogh.
Thank you. Well, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your schedules to spend an hour and learn a little more about LCIF. We're not going to follow the PowerPoint exactly because a lot of it you already are aware. What we hope to accomplish is for you to know what LCIF is, talk about the grants, donor recognition, getting connected, and how to make a gift in the various ways that you can make a gift. What is LCIF? LCIF is our foundation. It's the only way through Lions all over the world that together, we're together and we could help each other make help on a service project that we couldn't do alone. Let's face it, a lot of our clubs cannot accomplish what we want to without LCIF. LCIF's mission: empowering Lions clubs, volunteers, and partners to improve health and well-being, strengthen communities, and support those in need through grants that impact lives globally and encourage peace and international understanding. Our causes: we certainly know vision. With vision, in Connecticut, we received our machines that we do our eye screenings with through a LCIF grant that CLIRF obtained. Youth, disaster relief, humanitarian efforts, diabetes, childhood cancer, hunger, and environment. Since LCIF was founded in 1968, we've awarded 20,000 grants. It's a lot of grants for a total of $1.2 billion. That's certainly a lot of money. What have we done with it? 9.7 million cataract surgeries were performed. More than 20 million students worldwide impacted by Lions Quest. More than $140 million were received by communities devastated by natural disasters, and we've received our portion of it. Over 5 million people are benefiting from diabetes-related grant projects, and this is something that I think Connecticut is lacking on. I don't think we've ever applied for a diabetes grant. Sight for Kids have provided vision care to nearly 50 million school children with our KidSight program. It's quite a bit. Last year alone, $39.2 million in grant funding and 1,444 grants were awarded. That's quite a bit. Last year, here's where it went. $10 million went for matching grants. A lot of our humanitarian programs are matching grants. LCIF pays a portion, and the clubs have to pay a portion. Right now, we have a grant that we're hoping that gets approved for a new truck for St. Vincent's de Paul's in Middletown. LCIF would be paying 75% of it. And our Lions and St. Vincent's de Paul's would be responsible for 25%. Designated $7.3 million. What's interesting about that is a lot of clubs, especially, let's say, Maui in Hawaii, the disaster hit and everyone donated to it. On the checks, they wrote designated for Maui, which limits LCIF that they could only spend the money in Maui. A couple weeks after that, there was another disaster. LCIF could not spend any of the Maui money on the other disaster. So what we're better off doing is putting, instead of listing Maui or whatever you want to, list area of greatest need. In this way, it would also apply for a community impact grant, which we'll talk about after. Site First, which is primarily overseas, 5.9 million. Board Director, our Board of Trustees, awarded $3.8 million grants. Community Impact, Emergency, Hunger, Diabetes, Lion's Quest, Childhood Cancer. Major catastrophe grants, Humanitarian Awards, Community Recovery. Leo Service, our Leos can apply for grants. Disaster Preparedness in seed is $30,000. Grants awarded in our area, which is Constitution Area 1, 14 million for humanitarian, 7.7 for vision, disaster relief, 7.2, youth, 4.1, hunger, 2.3 million, diabetes, 1.4, childhood cancer, 1.3, and the environment, 342. This is where our local money has been spent. Since 1968, LCIF has awarded $148 million to the United States. And that's for our community. 4,200 grants for 148 million. That's not shabby at all. LCIF has a grant toolkit. In order to apply for a grant, there are certain restrictions that you have to follow. Every grant has their own qualifications on what they can and cannot cover. If you are thinking of applying for a grant, and with the exception of the Community Impact Grant, a club cannot apply for a grant by themselves. It has to be through the district. Grant criteria. Most of the grants are matching. They do expect the Lions to participate in the funding of it. A club comes up with a project, and let's use the St. Vincent's de Paul's truck as an example. We learned that the engine went on their truck and they wanted another one. So the East Hampton Lions checked with a couple other clubs to see if they would be interested in applying for a grant. We took it to the district, because this is a district grant, not a multiple district grant. Our cabinet had to vote on it. Once the cabinet voted, we could physically apply for a grant, and we had to be extremely precise in what we were going to do with it, what it was going to go for. the grant was about 10 pages long. We had to include the clubs that were donating. We had to include what St. Vincent's de Paul's would be doing with the money, with the truck, what it would be used for. We needed to show them what the financials were for St. Vincent's de Paul's, what their rating was with Charity Navigators. And once that was submitted, it goes in for review. It was reviewed and they came back with some questions. And one of the questions was Lion involvement. Once the truck was purchased, how are the Lions going to be involved with it? They would not just consider buying the truck if we would not consider to be involved with it. Fortunately, we have enough of a relationship with St. Vincent's de Paul's that it wasn't an issue at all. With LCIF fundraising, 100% of the donations goes towards grants and programs. None of it goes to admin. District and Club Community Impact Grant. If a club donates $5,000 in 1 year to LCIF without it being a designated grant, if, for instance, getting back to Maui, if you listed Maui, it would not count towards your 5,000. So a club has to donate 5,000, or a district has to donate 10,000 in 1 year to qualify for the DCG grant. Now, where does the district money come from? All the clubs that do not donate 5,000, and very few of our clubs do, all the money gets pulled. Last year, we had over $30,000 that qualified for a DCG grant. So clubs have to donate a minimum of 5,000. Districts have to donate a minimum of 10. And it cannot be, as I mentioned, disaster relief. It can be area of greatest need. Once a year, the clubs that qualify for a DCG grant, and once a year, the district is told how much money they have available. If a district or a club does not use all the money in 1 year, it does carry forward. So you can have, it adds up. There's one district right now, not in Connecticut, that has over $70,000 in DCG grants. Now, a club can apply for a DCG grant, providing that they qualified with the 5,000. It has to be for humanitarian service projects. In our district, District C, we've used it for the bags this year. We've used it for the turkeys, for the Stop the Bleed program. And it can be also used as part of the matching grant. For instance, getting back to the St. Vincent's de Paul's van, if we did not have enough money from the clubs to fulfill the matching part, we could apply to use some of that money for DCG funding. We are not going to be doing that. Eligible clubs and districts have up to 15 years to qualify to use the funding. And it also can be used on a whole series of projects, not just one. Some examples: Tennessee, $3,000 for books and games for pediatric cancer patients. Michigan, $1,800 for clothes and food for veterans. District B used it one year for clothes and Christmas items. Minnesota, $9,000 food donations to local food banks. Let me expand on that a little bit. We cannot give another organization money or a gift card. We have to physically donate. In this case, it would have been the food. Iowa, $5,000 to replace community computers in their library. Florida, $7,500 local matching funds for a playground that they had on their matching grants. Disaster grants. If a disaster hits, immediately the district governor, and it has to be the district governor, can apply for a $10,000 emergency grant. Normally, they get that between 24 and 48 hours. After that, they can apply for a community recovery grant, and that's for short-term cleanup and repair once the immediate needs are met. And they can apply for up to $20,000. Both of these grants are fairly easy to get. Disaster preparedness grant, and this is a grant that I would love our district to consider applying for. What we do with the disaster preparedness grant is we prepare for a disaster. New York has one that they started right after 9/11. They have a warehouse that's filled with items. So in the event of a disaster, it's already there. Granted, you're not going to get food items. They have tents. They can do a tent city. They also have generators. Major catastrophe grants. Once the community recovery is done, then they can apply for a $50,000 minimum for disasters. Our tent cities, our earthquakes, that all falls within the catastrophe grants. These are only awarded at the discretion of the international president and the LCIF chair, and they're monitored. For instance, if it's an earthquake and they need to set up a tent city, they are going to insist that LCIF assists them in the planning because we've set them up all over the world versus having someone apply and start a tent city when they've never done it before. Emergency grants for flooding. District 51C applied for $10,000. With the emergency grants, the local lions decide what the money is being spent on. Every penny does have to be accounted for. It's easy to get the money, but you certainly have to send receipts for every cent. The paperwork after an emergency grant is a little time consuming. District 37 applied for a $20,000 grant for flooding. (34C), they purchased a building and filled it with stuff that they would need in case of an emergency. Disaster updates. Hurricane Fiona in Puerto Rico, they've received 130. Dominican Republic, only 10. Canada, 10. LCIF is in contact with Canada to see about additional requests. We ran into the same problem with Maui. A lot of clubs donated to Maui, but Maui was very slow in applying for the grants for LCIF. They had the Hawaii Foundation that they used for much of their money. So right now we do have a sizable of them amount of money in LCIF for Maui. And it's just going to sit there until either they apply for a disaster grant or another disaster hits Maui. Hurricane Ian, 110,000. And there's additional requests going on there. And here's an example of one thing that they did after the grants. There's an excellent LCIF grant toolkit that if you want to learn more about LCIF grants, definitely apply for it, review it, and then contact Lion Susan or myself, and we'll be more than happy to help you with it. With what we do for Camp Rising Sun, it's very possible that we may want to consider a childhood cancer grant for the camp. And this is just what's in the toolkit. Most of the matching grants has to go before the board of directors or the board of trustees. The grant deadlines are October 1st, February 1st, and May 1st. For our truck, the grant had to be in by October 1st. The board is meeting in January. So at the end of January, we'll know whether or not we're getting the truck. The DCG grants do not have to go through our board. Recognitions. We like to recognize people when they donate to LCIF, whether it be the clubs, the districts, or the individuals. The corporations are our partners. And if you want to learn more about the recognitions, you can go to the LCIF recognition program. This year, President Patty Hill came up with some new awards. If you donate $50 to LCIF in one lump sum, you would qualify for a bronze. Silver is from 100 to 200. Gold is 200 and above. And the Leos, they have to donate a minimum of 20. If you donate 10, 10, and then 30 to LCIF, you are not entitled to the medal or to the pin. It has to be all at once. However, if you donate 50 and then you donate another 100, you would receive your silver pin. But it does have to be in one lump sum. Lion Susan has received some pins. Mine are in the mail. I should have them tomorrow. But if you donor services will be sending them out if you make a donation, as long as you request that you receive a pin. If you send the check to either Susan or myself, we'll submit the check for you and we'll give you your pin. This started July 1st. They initially ordered like 10,000 pins and they were gone within a short period of time. And their second order just came in within the last couple of weeks. So you haven't seen that many of them around Connecticut yet. MJF in Progressive Melvin Jones. I think everyone is aware of the $1,000 for the Melvin Jones Fellow. If a club or a person donates $1,000 to LCIF over time, it doesn't have to be all at once, you're entitled to either receive a Melvin Jones Fellow or you may honor someone with a Melvin Jones Fellow. The Melvin Jones Fellow is the highest award a club can bestow on an individual. Unfortunately, there's not a difference in a person donating 1,000 and receiving a Melvin Jones Fellow and being presented one is an award. Once an individual donates $1,000, or if they have a Melvin Jones Fellow, you can become a progressive Melvin Jones Fellow. And you'll see on the lower left-hand corner, one of the pins has this diamond chip on it. That's a one-level Melvin Jones progressive. Each $1,000 that is donated, you'll receive a second pin. Once you fill up the first 10, then you can go on to a sapphire and a ruby. And some people, they prefer not to have the multiple diamond chips on their pins, but they actually present it to someone else. A club can honor someone with the Melvin Jones Fellows, but you can also honor an individual with a progressive Melvin Jones Fellow. And that's the application that one has to fill out. It is on the internet, but in all honesty, what we prefer to do in Connecticut or in 23C is to either call Susan or myself and we'll complete it for you, because this way we track them. Right now, they're excellent with the turnaround time, but for a while we were having an issue. So it was easier if Susan and I tracked it for you. These are the distinctive progressive Melvin Jones Fellows. If you donate from 51,000 to 91,000, and you would be amazed at how many people actually do.
Mary, there's some people that can't see the screen. Can you try sharing it again? They couldn't see any of the medals or the Melvin Jones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, try hitting the share screen to see what you can do.
How is it now?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No. If you can hit the share screen button, find your PowerPoint, whatever you're looking at, and then hit OK.
I don't see okay.
Hit enter then. Hit the enter bar. There you go. Okay.
Can everyone see it now?
Yep, now we can see it. There you go.
I'm
If
going to
you-
go back. So
yeah,
people
that'd be wonderful.
see them. These are the Melvin Jones and the plaque. The application. And these pins, I think, are really impressive. Now, these pins are for those who donate 100,000 to $1 million. I went to a dinner in Long Island about a month ago with Ed Fenton and Frank Molinaro from Danbury. And I would say at least 8 or 10 people there were wearing these pins. I was amazed. They also have these pins that some people prefer rather than the round ones. And they're stick pins. We have 2 people in our district that qualify and have the first pins. What a lot of people don't realize is if a corporation donates $1,000, you can honor them with one of these awards. Now, if you have someone a business that donates in-kind service to you that's worth over $1,000, when you submit your yearly donation, if you have it go towards them, it can be used, but it would have to be new money. We gave one of these out 2 years ago at our Melvin Jones dinner, the Ted Supermarket. If anyone would like to see one of these, in error, they sent me 2. So I do have one that is just sitting that I use for an example, but they're real nice plaques that is good for businesses. They also have a plaque, and I don't think it's covered in here. It's a memorial donation. If someone passes a lion, it's similar to a Melvin Jones plaque, but it goes to the family. Okay. If the decedent's family is the type of person that would like a plaque in their honor, we can arrange it. Again, I have one here. We would just have to bring it to an engraver and put the deceased's name on it. I brought it up to the Middletown Club on the passing of Ellie, but they felt that the family really wouldn't want it. And that's understandable. But if you do have someone that would want it, we do have one that we can give. Again, this is the pins that President Patty Hill is giving out.
Those are nice.
They're very nice. And Susan, you have yours? You have a supply? You're muted.
I don't have the patches, but I do have the pins.
Okay.
So that's an example of one.
Okay. The patches are going to be coming from LCIF. Our Norwich Club just received a patch.
Oh.
They received a patch for being 100% district, 100% club.
What does that mean, Mary? 100% club?
That means that every person physically made a donation.
How much each person?
$50.
Thank you.
Okay. And basically what they did was they have, I believe it was 10 people in the club. They made a $500 donation and they listed all the members' names on it. The disadvantage of that is when they go for a Melvin Jones credit, it's given to the individual unless they specify that they want to waive the individual pledge and have it go towards the club, and that can be done. again, there's a club plaque recognizing clubs that donate over 1,000 or more to LCIF. And then there's also the banner patch. I've never seen the club plaque. That must be brand new this year. "100% Melvin Jones banner, awarded when all current club members are Melvin Jones Fellows. Last year at International, I went to the Melvin Jones banquet, and there were 3 clubs in the United States that became 100% Melvin Jones clubs. And one of them was our Madison Club. So we were quite proud of that. And Madison, we just honored the Madison Club. And lo and behold, this year, our district has one. I'm thrilled that our Bolton Club is 100% Melvin Jones Fellows. But they don't know it yet because they made 4 people Melvin Joneses to qualify. I'm sitting with the plaques because they haven't had us present them yet. So as soon as we present those plaques, then they'll get their awards. Something that very few clubs see in the United States, in fact, I don't think we've ever had one, is the Melvin Jones Progressive banner. There's one club in New York City that I visited, the Korean Club. In order to join their club, you have to donate $10,000 to LCIF. And that's to become a lion in that club. It's very popular overseas, but certainly not in the United States. That's just more awards. Legacy, and we're not really going to get into this much. Lions have a planned giving and legacy society. If you donate or if you pledge $1,000 or more, either through your insurance company, your life insurance, through a pension, you can join the Lions Legacy. And this is really getting popular. We currently in our district have 4 members that are legacies that I know of. At midwinter, there's going to be a table on this, so you'll learn a lot more about it. And there's benefits, tax deductions, estate tax reductions, capital gains. I'm certainly not the one to explain that to you. There's someone at International, Robert Knopik, that is very well. If you're interested in it, I'll be more than happy, or Sue will be more than happy to explain more about it. And the rest of this is all on legacy. So why don't we stop screen sharing, and why don't we open it up to questions and answers?
Okay, if somebody has a question, you can raise your hand or type it in the chat.
Well, I'm going to raise my hand this way.
Okay, go ahead, Susan.
Because I can't see the hand down there. But I get a lot of questions, so I'm just going to ask it as a group. What is the difference between Empowered Service Fund and Area of Greatest Need? Is there a difference, or is it just rhetoric?
It's rhetoric. Same thing.
Same thing. So any club or any individual who donates and says either one of those phrases, then the money, a percentage of that would be saved for our district for a possible grant. Is that correct?
It all would go to our DCG grant.
That
100% of it. Absolutely.
okay.
Only designated funds has to be, because if money is designated, we have to give it to that specific cause. We can't distribute any of it to DCGs.
Okay.
Perfect. Alan, I'm gonna ask you to unmute.
Yeah, Mary, this may sound kind of crazy off the wall, but sometimes in what we do, we get these little $5 donations made in our name for some of the stuff we do at events. And I'll get a letter from LCIF saying, thank you for your $5 contribution. Now I'm looking at the money they spent on postage for that. An email would be so much easier and cheaper for them and cut down their costs. I mean, it's just something that kind of strikes me as being a little bit off the wall that they would want to do something like that.
It is. I donate every month, and every month I get the letters, and it's an expense that's unnecessary. But what they want to do with them, because we had a discussion at our strategy session, is they want to thank the individual donors. And granted, you and I donate all the time, but if someone just donates once in a raffle or something, they appreciate that $5 thank you. And if any of your clubs do have raffles for LCIF, take the extra minute and rather than have it be a club donation, list the individuals' names. They track individual donations, and if it's a percentage, what LCIF is trying to overcome is everyone donates to the Cancer Society, to the American Heart Association, but a lot of people don't donate to our foundation, and they should, because it's your foundation and mine. We decide where the money's going to be spent.
Nice, thank you for that. Diana Grisey, I'm gonna ask you to unmute. Thank you.
Hello. The new pins that our international president has for this year, is it just this year? And would it continue, like say you wanted to get the pin for the $1,000, but you wanted it to be her pin, because what do we have, 3 years to do that over? Would you still get her pin, or is that just this year?
That's just this year. That's Patty Hill's pin.
Yeah, okay.
But you only have to donate $200 to get it. 50,
Well,
100, or 200.
When I saw the pins, didn't one of them say 250? So it depends on the amount.
I don't believe so.
One of the slides you had said 250 on it.
Susan, do you have the, oh, I'm not sharing screens anymore.
Right.
Do you have the pins right there?
You have to unmute yourself, Susan. Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
Yes, I do, but none of the pins say the dollar amount on them. The gold just says 2324 presidential supporter, Dr. Patty Hill, LCIF. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
And
it's
then that's a gold, and then they have one silver and bronze color. Same thing on it. But what you were talking to, I think it was
Was the round one. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the round one.
is that
That's
not
the-
Patty Hill's?
that's a patch, Diana.
That's the patch I saw. Okay, thank you.
Yep. And that's the presidential club patch, not the individual.
Okay, because I think that one said 250. Okay.
Yeah,
It was one of
there's
the,
250, 500, and 1,000,
okay,
but that's per member.
per member.
Per member.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll wait for Montville to get their $1,000 per member. Right?
She muted herself quite quickly.
Don will pay for it. I just saw him walk by.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Mary tonight? Oh, I think Alan's trying to raise his hand. I can't hear you, Alan. You need to unmute.
No, I was just explaining something to Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
confused.
Oh, why are you confused, Lisa?
The little round
These are
or the
rectangles.
pins that Sue just showed. Okay.
Yes.
That comes in 3 colors, right?
Yes.
And that only like if I sent X amount of dollars, I'd get a gold. If I sent X, and it would just be one person, one pin, not the club.
Correct. Those are
Okay.
individual donations.
Individual
Okay.
donations.
Okay. And so do you, is that all on the website so I can
Yeah.
share that to everybody in the club?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if someone submits, we'll say like Lisa, if you submit $50, okay, this month, and you get the pin for 50, next month, if you donate another 50, you do not get the $100 pin. You would have to donate $100 that month.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's per month.
No, lump sum.
Well, lump sum.
Lump sum per month,
No,
you get
no,
a pin?
just once. So 50, 100, or 200, whatever you donate, you're gonna get that pin. So $50, you're gonna get a bronze pin. Up to
Say-
100, you're gonna get, after 100, you're gonna get silver. After 200, you're gonna get a
So
gold.
if I want to get one of each one, I could do 3 different months and I can do,
Or three times during the year.
Correct.
Yeah.
okay, that's,
Yeah.
thank you. Merry Christmas, honey.
If someone wants the 50 pin and they can't afford to do it all at once, then don't submit it to LCIF until you collect the $50.
Okay.
Okay. Or have a club raffle and one person will get it.
So Mary, a club LCIF coordinator could collect money from their member, $10, $20 at a clip, and as soon as they hit 50 or they hit 100, then that LCIF coordinator can submit that money in that person's name and request a pin.
We shouldn't, but yes, we can. And it would.
I like that idea. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Gives
know, a
us
lot of
something for our
people-
LCIF coordinators to,
yeah. A lot of people can't afford to donate 50 in a month, but they could afford a 20, 20, and a 10. But with something like that, make sure that you give them the check. You give them the pin and you submit it.
yeah,
Because LCI, if donor services sees 3 separate checks dated a month apart, they may not send a pin.
I got you. Now, could a club send LCIF one check and say the names of each individual member and what they contributed and ask for pins for those members?
As long as it's done on the multi-form.
Okay. So I see Bonnie and Kate here, so you know where I'm gonna go with you.
Any other questions?
Kate said, congratulations, nice presentation and question and answer session. She's very impressed with how generous Connecticut clubs and members are.
Yeah. Now, we are having, for our midwinter conference, we're having Bruce Beck, who is my boss. He's the area leader for all of the United States. I would love to have a bunch of us be wearing those pins. Okay. And Diana agrees. And Diana, he would really be impressed if a lot of your Leos are wearing those pins. Maybe we should sponsor a Leo for $20 and have them all wear the pins. You're muted, Diana. Okay.
Yeah, you need to unmute.
And we could understand her.
I know, but you wouldn't, I couldn't. I thought you had to let me because I tried and it didn't. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, we have Leos that have donated $20 and there is a special Leo pin. So is there another one this year from Patty Hill or is it the same pin?
Yes. Oh, no, it's a different one.
Okay,
It says Patty Hill on it.
I will definitely get that information out
Okay.
to try to do that. That would be cool.
In fact, I don't know if anyone received one, but Donor Services made a mistake last month and they sent, instead of sending the Patty Hill pins out, they sent the pins out from Campaign 100. I've gotten several calls saying, Mary, why are we getting these old pins? Susan, I don't know if you've gotten any, but they sent out the wrong pins, so they're fixing their error.
Was that the little round one?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I have some left over from yours.
Kate has a question, I think. Unmute.
Hey, you need to unmute.
Okay. What is happening as the former coordinator for LCIF? What is happening with the pins from the Campaign 100 that were not distributed? Can they be used for pin sales and trading or not?
You would have to ask the pin traders that.
Ah, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And let's push those LCIF individual donations and have a lot of pins for Bruce Beck.